Welcome. Thank you for joining me for today's practice. Um, Currently in Montana, we are in between seasons. At least for me, I'm not doing any of the fun stuff that is available right now. So, in between skiing and hiking and backpacking, it's hard for me to maintain my strength. And so, I like to do a lot of more aerobic type yoga flows so that way I can keep that strength and hop right into the sports once I can access the mountains, basically. So today I'm going to do a more aerobic vinyasa flow, something you might see in a yoga studio. And I will incorporate some of my teachings that are more traditional, but there will be a lot of movement. We'll be working on the core and the spinal flexibility and shoulders so that way I can carry my packs and be ready for what Montana has this summer. All right, let's begin. Let's come into child's pose. We'll just sort of center and bring ourselves to the mat. Bring your knees wide outside of your mat, sinking your hips down onto your heels, and walk your hands forward. Drop your forehead on the mat and take a few deep breaths here. When you do take deep breaths, make it even between the inhales and the exhales. All throughout the practice today, try to keep your breathing even like this, coming back to the breath. Okay, when you're ready, walk your hands back towards your body. Bring your knees together and come back to a comfortable seated position. We'll do a little bit of a breathing exercise, get our lungs ready and prepared for our exercise that we're about to do. So you can sit however is comfortable for you. The important thing is that your spine is upright and neutral, so you can go ahead and put a pillow, a block, or a bolster underneath and sit sort of on the edge so that way your spine just naturally tilts upright. Otherwise, if you feel comfortable and you can do this naturally on your own, put your feet however you want basically, but I like to bring my heel into my pelvis and then pop my top foot in this little nook right here. And then you can put your hands face down on your knees, and we'll just sit here for a moment, breathing deeply and evenly. And now let's come to our hands and knees, and we'll do a little bit more warming up. I'm just trying to get the body and mind ready for what we're about to do. It's going to be a lot, it's going to require a lot of the body, and so I just want to make sure that we're warmed up. So coming into tabletop with your hips over your knees and your shoulders over your wrists, and just a neutral spine right now. You can kind of move in it and feel your body and loosen your spine in a way that regular day-to-day activities don't really call for. Maybe make some circles like you're jumping rope with your spine. Small at first, getting a little bit bigger. Dropping your chest to the floor and lifting your hips into the air, and then coming around, pulling your shoulder blades up towards the sky, tucking your tailbone, and making a complete circle, doing it again and again. If that's what you're doing or whatever you're doing, switch sides and do it on the other side to maintain balance. And settle back into a neutral spine. Breathing deeply and relaxing here for a moment. Now we're going to move through cat-cow, and we're going to match our postures with our breath. On the inhalation, we will come into cow, pulling our head up, expanding our chest, pulling our hips up towards the ceiling. And then on the exhalation, tucking our tailbone and our chin towards our chest, pulling our spine up towards the ceiling on the back side, and breathing out. And so we'll go ahead and move through a few of those, and you can go at your own pace once you feel like you have it. So we'll begin inhaling, lifting your chin, pulling your chest forward, lifting your hips towards the ceiling and dropping your stomach towards the ground. And then exhale, tucking your tailbone, tucking your chin towards your chest, and pulling the center of your back towards the ceiling. Inhale back into cow. Exhale into cat pose. Inhale into cow pose. Exhale into cat pose. As you're doing this, really explore your limit. Don't push beyond it, but we're looking to create space in our spine and in our chest and shoulders. Just one more and then we'll meet in tabletop. And in tabletop, have a neutral spine, maybe wag your spine back and forth a little bit. And from here, drop your elbows to the mat and create a sort of triangle with your arms. We're going to do a little bit of dolphin pose exercise to warm up our shoulders and upper body. Bring your hands together and you can clasp them in whatever way is comfortable for you. I like to keep my hands flat sometimes, and sometimes I do like to clasp it. It depends on whatever feels right to you. Just make sure that you have a firm foundation. Bring your knees slightly behind your hips. Tuck your feet so that your toes are down, and then lift your hips and straighten your legs and bring your head towards the ground. Walk your feet in a little bit towards your hands, and this is dolphin pose. You can walk your feet forward until your heels touch the ground if that's comfortable for you. I am too tight to do that, so this is about as far as I get. And keep your shoulders open and broad. Don't scrunch them up towards your ears. Now on your inhalation, bring your chin forward to the front of your hands. And then on the exhalation, bring it back so that your head is behind your hands. Take a deep breath. We'll do that 4 more times at your own pace. And we will take a break after that. So one more here. Inhale forward. Exhale backward. Deep breath. Inhale forward. Exhale backward. Deep breath. 2 more. Inhale forward. Exhale backward. Deep breath. 1 more. Inhale forward. Exhale backward. Deep breath. And now drop your knees to the mat. Sink your hips back to your heels in child's pose. Breathe deeply and evenly. Now walk your hands up towards your knees. Whew. I don't know about you, but my arms are jelly and I need to shake them out a little bit. Okay, let's come to our seat and bring our legs forward now. We'll give our upper body a little rest while we warm up our core. Come onto your back. And bring your feet together, flexing them upward, keeping your legs straight and together and strong. Bring your shoulder blades together underneath your back to give yourself a really nice base for this warm-up exercise. And you can place both palms on the ground next to your legs, sort of tucked under the fleshy part of your thigh. Or what I like to do is I like to bring them right under my seat and use my forearms with my elbows sort of pushing off into the ground to support my body in this, because I am not strong enough to do it the other way, which is why I do this exercise. I'm still out of breath from dolphin pose. That was really tough. Okay, so we'll just do as many of these as I can handle, and you can feel free to do more or less, whatever is up to you. This is a workout for me, and I feel like I'm fit, so you might be struggling too, but if you're not, keep going. That's impressive. Okay, on the inhalation, we'll bring our feet upward until our legs are perpendicular. And then on the exhalation, we'll lower it as far as we can without compromising, the integrity of the posture. Once you start arching your back and doing weird things to just keep your legs off the ground, that's too far. So find that spot for you where you can have a strong, flattish back, and that is your low point. Okay, so let's begin. Inhale, lifting up, finding perpendicular. And exhale, going as far as you can with a flat back. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And you can go at your own pace. Try to keep it even, the inhale and the exhale. And on your next exhale, release. Bring your hands out to your side. Put the soles of your feet flat on the ground, bringing your knees up a little bit. Release some of that pressure on the low back. You can sway your knees back and forth like windshield wipers. Okay, now push yourself back up, coming back onto tabletop position. Our forearms have rested a little bit. Bring your hands forward a little bit from tabletop and tuck your toes underneath and lift your hips, straighten your legs, and come back into downward facing dog. Shuffle your feet a little bit and find the posture that is comfortable for you. Your legs can be hips width apart or a little bit wider. You can bend your knees, pedal them a little bit, find what's comfortable. By now, your body should be warming up a bit, and you should be able to come into this a little more comfortably than if we had just begun here. Take a moment to lift your hips up to the sky, feeling your spine lengthen when you do that. I'm hyper flexible in my shoulders, so I can push down pretty far and do a little back bend here, but that's not really what we're doing here. So if you find yourself having a back bend like that, you can bring your hands in a little bit closer and just keep a long, straight spine. You can bend your knees deeply to help lengthen the spine. Pull your biceps forward and away from each other, creating space between your shoulder blades when you do that. And when you're ready, we'll begin what I don't know what it's called. We'll begin a sort of wave-like motion by pulling our shoulders up and over towards our wrists. And once they're over our wrists, drop your hips towards the ground without touching your thighs to the ground. Lift your chin, pushing your chest forward. And then exhale, pushing your hips back up into downward facing dog. So as we're moving forward, we will be inhaling slowly and deeply. And as we push our hips back into down dog, we will be exhaling. So I'll walk us through the first one, and then you can do a few on your own, and we'll meet back in downward facing dog. Inhale, lifting your shoulders towards your wrist, and then exhale, drop your hips towards the mat without letting your thighs touch the mat. Exhale back into downward facing dog. Inhale forward. Exhale back to downward facing dog. Do a couple more of these on your own, at your own pace. And the next time you come into downward facing dog, drop your knees to your mat. Spread them a little wider than the mat. Sink your hips back to your heels. Drop your forehead to the mat and come to child's pose. Resting here for a few deep breaths. Lift your hips up and come back to downward facing dog. Pedaling your feet to settle into a comfortable posture. Rotating your biceps forward and out to broaden between your shoulder blades. And lifting your hips up to the ceiling, creating length in your spine. You can have a deep bend in this posture. It's not about flexibility, it's about creating space in your back, at least in this case. And inhale, bringing your right leg up into the sky. Keep both of your hip joints facing down and toward the back of the mat. And on your next exhale, bend your right leg and then stack your hips so your right hip is directly above your left hip. And take a few deep breaths here in this hip opening posture variation of down dog. Remember to keep your chest open and broad. You can inhale into your chest, making space for it in this posture. Lifting your knee if it has drooped a little bit, your right knee. And release by coming back with your legs straight and your hips facing downward. Lift your leg a little bit higher, and on your next exhale, bring your knee to your nose, bending your spine. And then inhale, lift your leg up into the air, and then exhale, bringing your knee to your right elbow. Inhale, lift your leg up, straight back. Exhale, bringing your knee to your left elbow. Inhale, your leg straight back and up and down onto the ground. Take a deep breath here. I don't know about you, but my arms are still tired from the dolphin exercise, so they're a little shaky. I'm just pedaling my legs, kind of bringing movement into this, so it's a lot less shaky. Okay, finding stillness in downward dog, broadening our shoulders and lifting our hips. Let's do the same on the other side. Inhale and bring your left leg up to the sky, keeping your hips both pointing down towards the mat. And exhale, bending your leg and then stacking your hips. Pushing your hips forward towards the side of the mat, opening your chest. Feeling the stretch in your hips. Lift your left leg if it's starting to slouch a little bit. And release by bringing your hips both facing downward, straightening your left leg. On your next exhale, bring your knee to your forehead. Inhale, legs straight back and up. Exhale, knee to your left elbow. Inhale, straight back and up. Exhale to your right elbow. Inhale, straight back and up. And release to downward facing dog. Drop your knees to the mat. Come into child's pose and rest for a few deep breaths. And lifting your hips up, bringing them back together if you separated them. Tuck your toes, and come back into downward facing dog. From here, walk, step, or jump your way to the front of the mat and forward fold, taking a moment to let gravity pull on your spine, lifting your hips slightly towards the sky, and leave a nice bend in your legs so that way you're not stressing the hamstrings. We're just letting gravity pull. You can leave your arms loose or hold your elbows. Let your head hang. Just sit here for a moment, taking a deep breath. And when you're ready, begin to roll up to standing one vertebrae at a time, leaving your head heavy. Slowly, slowly. Take a deep breath once you're standing in. Bring your shoulder blades together in the back and down your spine, and exhale. Inhale, lift your chest, and exhale. Okay, now I would like to do something with the lower half of the body. My arms are dead. I think this is going to really be difficult for me later today. So now I would like to do Dancing Warrior, which is basically just moving through all of the warrior postures in one flow. So I will walk us through the first one and then sort of go through the flow with you. Beginning in mountain pose, standing with your back straight and light. Bring your shoulder blades back together and down your spine. Push your hips forward a little bit. And we'll just have a really engaged mountain pose for one deep breath. Breathing in, filling your lungs and lifting your chest as you do. And exhale, release. And now bring your right foot back to the back of your mat, keeping the outer edge of your foot in line with the back of your mat. And then your right or your front foot can face forward and line your heels up so that they are in line together. We are going to come into Warrior 2 by bending your front knee. You want to be able to see your big toe over your front knee. So keep your knee so that it's not dipping forward towards the inside of your leg. Keep it towards the outside of your foot. And then turn both of your hip joints to the side of the mat, keeping your knees still in line. Legs straight and strong. Keeping everything engaged to protect your hips here, and sink until you either cannot go any further with everything in line, or until you find a 90-degree angle in your front bent leg. Lift your shoulders up, bring your shoulder blades together, back, together and down your spine, and extend your arms sideways over your legs. Look to the front, over your front fingertips, and take a deep breath, filling your chest. Exhale, sinking a little deeper into this posture. On your next inhale, drop your back arm to your thigh and lift your front arm up towards the sky, opening the front side of your body. And on your next exhale, bring your front arm forward to in front of your knee and lift your back arm up towards the sky. Taking a deep breath in to open your chest. And then exhale back to Warrior 2. Aligning your hips towards the side of the mat. Deep breath in, filling and lifting your chest. And exhale both feet to the front of the mat. Take a deep breath here in mountain pose. Lifting your chest and pushing your hips forward. And exhale. And now we'll do the same on the other side. Bring your opposite leg, in my case it's my left leg, to the back of the mat with the outer edge parallel to the back of the mat. Your front foot facing forward, your heels aligned. Bring your hip joints so that they're facing the side of the mat. And now bend your knee in such a way that you can still see your big toe from up here on the inside of your knee. Keep your back leg strong and straight, using your muscles to be engaged and support your hip joints here and your ligaments. And now take a deep breath in and bring your shoulder blades down and back your spine on your exhale. Breathe in and lift your arms. And exhale, sinking a little bit deeper and looking over the tips of your front fingers. And take another deep breath here, checking on all the alignment. On your next inhale, drop your back arm towards your thigh, not putting any pressure on it, and lifting your front arm up towards the sky. Check in again with the alignment of your legs. Open your chest when you inhale. And on your next exhale, bring your front arm forward to the inside of your knee. Lift your back arm up to the sky. Inhale, space into your chest. And exhale back into Warrior Two. Inhale, filling your chest. And exhale, stepping forward to the front of the mat. Take a moment here for some deep breaths. Inhale, lifting the chest, filling it so much that your shoulders come back together, dropping down your spine. And exhale. Now let's do another round. Finding your Warrior Two with your right foot back and your left foot forward. Make sure that you can see your toe from the inside of your knee. Face both of your hip joints to the side of the mat. Lift your shoulders back and down your spine. Arms out sideways. Look over your front fingertips and take a deep breath here. On your next inhale, drop your back arm, lifting your front arm to the sky. And exhale deeper into the posture, maintaining the integrity of your legs. Inhale, filling your chest, creating space. And then exhale, bringing your hands forward, dropping your front arm to in front of your knee, lifting your back arm to the sky. And take a deep breath here. Inhale, filling your chest, creating space. Exhale, coming back to Warrior Two. Take a deep breath here, checking the alignment of your legs and your hips. And come back to the front of your mat. Standing in mountain pose, take one deep breath. Now the other side. Bring your opposite leg to the back with your outer edge parallel to the back of your mat. Your front foot facing forward and come into Warrior Two. Checking that you can see your toe from the inside of your knee. Both of your hip joints are facing the side of the mat and your arms are extended sideways. Look over the front fingertips. Take a deep breath here. On your next inhalation, drop your back arm, lifting your front arm up to the sky. And take a deep breath here. On your next inhalation, fill your lungs completely. And exhale, coming forward, dropping your front arm to in front of your knee, your bent knee. Lifting your back arm up towards the ceiling. Take a deep breath. Inhale, filling your lungs completely. And exhale back into Warrior Two. Checking the alignment. Deep breath. And release, coming back into mountain pose at the front of your mat. Deep breath here. Okay, and now I would love to do some chair pose with twists. I really think spinal flexibility is important with all of this exercise, and so that's what we will do. I will face this way so that you can get a good angle. Bring your toes together, and you can have your heels either together or slightly apart, whatever's comfortable for you. I like them slightly apart. And we are going to begin in mountain pose, just, keeping a strong, straight back, bringing our shoulder blades back together and down our spine, and bringing our hips forward slightly. Take a deep breath in and exhale. On your next inhalation, bring your hands together in prayer pose at your chest, and exhale here. Inhale deeply, filling your chest, and exhale, bringing your knees over your toes, your hips back, and your arms up and forward into chair pose. Breathe deeply here. Inhale, lifting your chest, bringing your arms up slightly, and exhale, sinking a little bit deeper. Now bring your palms back together, bend over so that your stomach touches your thighs. Put your right elbow on the outside of your left knee, and making sure that your hips are still somewhat in line with your ankles and knees. Push against your knee, twist your spine, and look up over your left shoulder. Breathe deeply here, using your breath to create space in your chest. And release, straighten your legs, forward fold, and just wiggle your legs a little bit, letting gravity pull on your head and your spine. On your next inhalation, come back into chair pose, lifting your chest and your arms up. And on your next exhalation, sink deeper with your chest against your thighs. Tuck your left elbow on the outside of your right knee, creating a deep twist without compromising where your hips are, keeping them centered. Breathe deeply and evenly here. And release. Again, to a forward fold, pedaling the legs, letting gravity pull on your head and spine. Coming to stillness and forward fold, bring a slight bend into your knees and slowly roll up to standing, one vertebrae at a time. And we will meet in mountain pose, standing strong, with our chest full and lifted, and our shoulder blades back and pulling down our spine. Take a deep breath in, bringing your hands together at heart center, and exhale. Deep breath in, lift your hands up overhead, pushing your hips forward for a slight back bend, and exhale, forward fold all the way to the ground. Again, with bent knees, letting gravity pull on your head and spine. You can move here a little bit like I am, just finding all the little ways to stretch my hips and legs, swaying my spine back and forth. Finding stillness, we'll do that again, rolling up to standing, one vertebrae at a time. Taking a deep breath in. Once you're standing, lifting your chest. Exhale, bringing your shoulder blades together and down your spine. Inhale, hands together at heart center, palms pressed against each other. Exhale. Inhale, lifting hands up overhead, pushing your hips forward slightly for a back bend. And exhale, forward fold with a deep bend in your knees and being loose with your arms and spine, swaying your spine back and forth. Finding stillness, we'll do that one more time. Coming up to standing, one vertebrae at a time, rolling your back. Let your head be the last thing to come up. And then once you're standing, take a deep breath in, lifting your chest. Exhale, bringing your shoulder blades down and back. Inhale, hands to heart center, pressing the palms together. Exhale. Inhale, lifting your hands up overhead, pushing your hips forward. And exhale, forward fold. And swaying your spine, pedaling your legs slightly. Finding movement in this. Forward fold. And come to stillness and slightly straighten your legs, not completely, but make them strong. Lift your chest forward, bringing your head in line with your hips, straightening your back and using the ground to stabilize yourself. Take a deep breath in. And on the exhale, plant your hands down onto the ground and step back into plank pose. Keeping a straight line between your shoulders, your hips, your knees, and your ankles. Shoulders over your wrists. Same thing as down dog, pulling your biceps forward and out, creating space in your upper chest. Lifting your head so that your neck is in line with your spine. And on your next exhale, lower into chaturanga until your belly touches the floor. Untuck your toes if they were tucked, and bring your hands forward so that your shoulders are directly over your elbows and your hands are firmly planted into the ground. Check your spine so that you make sure your hips are in line with your shoulders. And now, opening your chest towards the front, use your hands on the ground to sort of pull your chest forward, bringing your shoulder blades back and down your spine, your chin parallel to the ground. Take a deep breath. Now bring your legs together and keep them engaged, pushing your pelvis into the ground. Once again, take a deep breath, pulling your chest forward. And exhale, sinking deeper. Breathe deeply here. And release. We'll come back into child's pose, pushing up through your hands, bringing your hips over your heels and opening your knees wide. Bring your head to the mat, your forehead to the mat. Walk your hands forward to create space in your back. And take a few deep breaths here. Breathe deeply and evenly. Walk your hands towards your body, pushing yourself up. And now come on to a seated position, bringing your legs forward in front of you and coming onto your back. We're going to work our way into half bridge pose. So you want your feet flat on the ground and your knees facing up, and your feet about as wide as your hips. Walk them as close to your body as is comfortable. If you have long legs like me, bringing them all the way in is actually too short of a posture for it to be comfortable. So find what works for you. And now place your hands on either side of you with your palms facing down, firmly planted. And bring your shoulder blades back together and down your spine, creating a nice foundation for your back. And on your next inhalation, lift your hips up towards the ceiling. And exhale, settle into this posture, maybe walking your shoulder blades a little bit closer together, adjusting your hands, keeping your knees in line with your hips. If they go out too far, then you can start to stress out the joints. You want to keep them in line. You can put a block between your knees to kind of practice the distance that you should have between them. Take a deep breath here, using your breath to create space in your chest. Push your hips up a little bit further, using your glutes and your thighs to bring your hips higher, pushing into the ground with your feet. And breathe deeply. And release, coming back to the ground. Swaying your knees back and forth like windshield wipers. Take a deep breath here. And when you're ready, bring your knees toward your chest as much as you can while keeping a flat back. And wrap your arms around whatever you can. You can either put your hands behind your thighs, you can put your hands behind your knees, or you can just wrap it completely like I can and keep your back completely flat. The important thing is that your back is flat and you are coming as far as is comfortable for you. If you can bring them all the way to your chest, squeeze them in as much as you can and play with how far apart your knees are, bringing them a little bit wider outside of your body or maybe close together. Play with it a little bit and find that sweet spot. Or maybe no spot, just keep moving and hitting all of them. Take a few deep breaths here once you find something you like. And release, bringing your feet all the way extended in front of you, legs straight. Opening your feet to the sides. Opening your hands to the side. Getting comfortable with a straight spine. Your hips in line with your shoulders. Take a deep breath in, filling your chest completely. And exhale, release. Releasing any tension, anywhere you might be holding. Scan your body, looking for spots where maybe your muscles are tensed because you're holding yourself in this posture. And release it. Breathe deeply and evenly here, and we'll rest here for a little bit. Begin to deepen your breath. Filling your entire chest cavity, expanding your ribs as much as they'll go on your inhale. And exhale completely. Begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Rotate your wrists and ankles. Come onto your side into the fetal position. Rest here for a moment. Using your top arm to push yourself up. Come into a comfortable seated position. Tucking your feet in towards your tailbone as much as is comfortable. If it is difficult for you to drop your knees, then you can put pillows or blocks or honestly anything to just sort of relieve the pressure that's underneath your knees here. And find yourself, if you need something under your seat, you can go ahead and grab it. Just create a neutral spine for yourself, bringing your shoulder blades back together and down your spine. You can close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Place your hands wherever is comfortable. I like it on my knees. Helps me keep broad shoulders and back. Take a deep breath, inhaling your lungs, filling your lungs completely. And exhale, releasing everything. One more inhale. And exhale, emptying your lungs completely. You can go ahead and stay here for a little bit if you would like. I know that I feel very zenned out at the end of my practice. That is the point of yoga after all, at least the asanas. I wish you a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining me.